Welcome to Pound for Pound ATL, arguably the best place to get facts and opinions on your Atlanta Falcons. And absolutely the best place to get your opinions in. The conversation starts now.
What's going on, football fans? It's me, J.R. Clark, back again with another Pound for Pound ATL Live, joined as always by my main man, Toby D. Toby, what's going on, brother?
Watching history, that's what's going on, brother.
That's right. Yeah, that was not only did we come away with a win against the Chicago Bears, but Cordarelle Patterson made history, become the all-time leading kickoff return leader, however you want to say that, scoring his 9th kickoff return for a touchdown. That's more than anybody else in history. And something that I realized, and then you made a different connection, is that now both the punt return and the kick return record have been broken by a Falcon in the Falcons Stadium.
Who just so happened to formerly play with the Chicago Bears.
Right. Oh, there's another connection. Formerly played with the Chicago Bears. And there's another connection. You were in the building for both of them.
In the building. And I mean, you just brought that to my attention, 2014, when, Devin Hester broke the record running, streaking down the sideline. And Deion Sanders was there that night,
Right.
So it was that was a beautiful thing within itself. And man, we gave them a shellacking. Then we scored like 56 points that night.
Yeah, that was definitely a night to remember, both Hester and Cordarelle, and to come like off that fumble that Cordarelle had too, because that was interesting to see.
Yeah,
somebody says they can't hear me. Hold on.
Uh-oh.
Can y'all hear me? Let's see. I'm not muted. Let's see.
Well, I guess they can hear me. They just trying to.
No, they say we can hear.
Yeah.
Willie Doc says they can hear.
Okay.
Okay, maybe it's just I got my wife on the other side of the wall here telling me that they can't hear, or that she can't hear.
Oh.
So it might be something on her end. You didn't know I had a moderator on the other side of this wall right here.
Hey man, that's always a good thing. That you have your moderator over there.
Yeah, she keeps an ear out and an eye out for me.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, no. So all in all, like, it was a pretty good game, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's about the kind of game that you can expect. But I guess before we go too much further, our talk really does lean into go ahead and throwing out the faller and the baller.
Let's do
we'll
it.
Go ahead and jump into everybody's favorite segment, which is the faller and the baller. This week's baller, as you could tell, is Cordarelle Patterson. Not only did he have a kick return for a touchdown, he also accounted for, I think, like right around or a little over 200 yards of our offense. It's really, you can really tell that, he is a spark plug, kind of a lot like Deebo Samuel is the 49ers. Cordarelle Patterson seems to be that kind of a spark plug for us, in getting the offense going. He's a good hard runner, sets up a lot of stuff for, having Algier as his backup. I think works really well. I think that you're seeing what you wanted to see last year with Cordarelle Patterson and Mike Davis, is two hard physical runners. But like his ability out of the backfield and being able to split him out, you saw with a few screens on Sunday. He really does help this offense quite a bit. And it's going to be even more so important as we get into the reason for our faller. Now, our faller is the injury bug, who reared his ugly head big time in this game. From a not so great pass from Mariota, leading, trying to overthrow Pitts yet again. I'm not blaming it on Mariota. I'm just framing the picture there. This could happen at any point in time. But, Pitts comes down awkwardly on that knee, and at worst, he grade 4 sprain on his MCL at best At worst, it's a partially torn MCL.
Yeah.
Either way, it landed him on the IR, so he's out for at least 4 weeks. And also getting carted off the field, which somehow I missed. I was out of pocket on the weekend, so catching it up on Sunday evening and Monday, I must have missed Taquan Graham being carted off the field. I
Yeah.
knew he'd gotten placed on injury reserve as well, but I didn't realize it sounds like his was a just as a devastating, and that's devastating to our defensive line, man. Like,
Yeah, man.
I know everybody's like talking about, oh, Taquan ain't got the sacks or what have you, but he has been a force on this line. Like, he's been one of
Yeah.
the main reasons why, why Grady has been able to work the way he's worked, because you can't just double and triple Grady,
Yeah.
because of guys like Taquan. Excuse me. So yeah, it really did really suck to have both those guys go down in the way that they did.
I mean, to personally be there and watch that happen with Pitts and with Taquan, man, Taquan looked absolutely worse with him, and he just laying there, and we just so happened to be on the side of the field where Chicago Bears was at the time when he got hurt, and he just laying there, man, like, just in pain or whatnot. And that really sucked to see that happen, especially with the pass rush they were generating there. I mean, man, they was getting after Justin. Now there was time when they left a wide open gap in between their rushes, and Justin was able to get through there and get some yards. But for the most part, when they contained him, man, they was punishing Justin. Like, just
Oh
seeing
yeah.
that in person, like they were punishing him, man.
Well, I mean, like Nick comments right there, the defense with 4 sacks, they
Yeah,
were able to bring some pressure. And when was as we were talking about last week with the absence of AJ Terrell,
yeah,
these last few games, you've seen it like show up big with him being back. They were able to
yep,
get pressure with just
yep,
their 4.
yeah,
And that was, you see how much of a difference being able to get pressure with just your 4 makes.
mm-hmm,
Like, because if you
yep,
can, that's when those Sims and when those creepers really get to working, is when you can keep 8 in the, or not 8, but you keep 7 in coverage and rush 4.
yeah.
That's when it really shows up there. Um, Woon Carter tipped us, which we appreciate.
Boom.
Woon, it says $5 from Woon Carter. Says, rise up, pound for pound family. Happy Thanksgiving and Victory Week. On to Washington. Let's go.
Let's
Yes,
go.
happy Thanksgiving to all y'all. I hope everybody has a great time. Try not to get any kind of arguments with your family. Remember, this is supposed to be a time of Thanksgiving. Leave the I don't know, leave the politics and leave the water cooler talk. You know, not at the house. Try to keep it
Yeah.
on good things. Ryan Lamar or Rydell Lamar says, "What's up, brothers? What's going on,
What
Ryan?"
up?
Fred Butt says, let's see what Fred's got to say. He says, I'm telling y'all, this team is special. We're going to do something special this year. Watch and see. And hate Pitts got hurt, but this may help Mariota play QB better instead of trying to get the ball to Pitts. I'm not 100% sure he was trying to get the ball to Pitts, like ever. Like, I'm not trying to be like a smart aleck. I mean, I always appreciate Fred's optimism. I believe the man could see sunshine in a coal mine,
Yeah,
but I'm not sure that it's gonna, like, if anything, it may have in his mind, okay, every pass we can't keep going downfield. It's got to be short now. So
bro.
maybe that helps. I don't know. Willie Doc, we appreciate you, Willie, as
Willie Doc
always.
done did it.
Did he says,
You
remember when
know.
Acuna went down last year and yet somehow the Braves won the World Series?
Yeah,
Could
they
we see
did.
a similar outcome with the Falcons? I Dog, when Acuna went down, you still had, Freddie Freeman and Dansby Swanson and
Yeah,
a handful of like other names that are slipping my mind, that like Solaire and all those guys who really, were already good players. Like right now, unfortunately, you don't have a ton of great players, or you potentially have some great players who are lacking in experience, right?
yeah,
So I mean, I was absolutely because I was torn between putting CP84 as our baller and putting AK-47 as our baller. Because Ebiketie had a game, dude.
He
I
did,
mean,
man. He
he was
did.
all over the place.
Yeah,
And
he did.
if this is his like turning point in the season, that would be awesome. Like even
Yeah,
Lorenzo Carter looked shot out of a cannon a handful of times.
man. I'll tell you that one sack that he got, and Lorenzo kind of hit Justin Fields up top. I thought they were finna call a roughing the passer call on that thing because it was that close.
Yeah.
Cause they were trying to take Justin Fields out.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean,
I mean, you had watched for the past two games back to back the Bears score over 30 something points, Justin Fields running all over everybody.
hmm
Like you had to know in their mind that okay, we can't let Fields running beat us.
yeah,
If he's going to beat us, it's going to have to be with his arm. And he had a couple real good pretty passes.
he
Uh,
did, but yeah,
you know, that touchdown to Darnell Mooney,
yeah,
um, which you put D Alford in a bind there. That was a
yeah,
natural pick play. There was no way he was getting to
yeah,
that. That was perfectly called,
yeah. It was a
and
perfect throw.
right, and it
Yeah,
was an absolutely great flow throw. Um, so like that, I was almost convinced that there was no way we were going to be containing the Bears offense.
yeah,
Not what we had seen out of our defense the last few weeks. Hadn't really been playing all that great. Um, you know, and the Bears offense came in red hot.
yeah,
And so and you had the hype of, Fields coming home and playing in front of his, home crowd again, all of his friends and family and all that jazz. Um, and so I mean, to me, it sounded like a recipe for disaster, is
yeah.
what it felt like. Um, and then, like I said, I was out of pocket in Alabama doing a family thing, and I get so ramped up watching Falcons games. I was like, no, I don't need to be watching this right now because I'll have everybody in the house wanting to kick me out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
And so my blood pressure be getting up, and I'll be yelling and screaming. And I figured that wasn't the greatest thing to be doing while family was around. So I waited till the game was over and looked at it, and I was fully expecting to look at 30 something to 20 us losing. You know what I'm saying? And to see a winner, and then to start reading, with Cordell breaking the record and all that other stuff. It was good. So, Antoine Wartime says you got to have faith, Jr. Sometimes my faith, lends on the pessimistic side. Part of the reason why I do this is to force myself to be a more optimistic and to look at it in a different light. Let's see. All right. You look like did a comment catch your eye? Look
Mm-mm.
like you. No. Okay.
No.
Um, Alberto says we have to be patient with the process. Ritter is going to be like Mahomes, sitting behind Alex Smith in Kansas City, just to have more pass plays. I'll say this. I mean, they have commented, like they have brought light to that situation more than once. So I think that's what they're looking for. But it's hard to think that, I mean, I don't know if necessarily Ritter is going to be on the same level as Mahomes talent wise, but I think the situation is similar.
And he
And I
don't
think,
need to be.
yeah, no, not in this offense. He don't. I mean, look at what Shanahan does on a weekly basis with Garoppolo. Like, and he has done at times with guys like Nick Mullins and all this other jazz. We
Yeah.
run the same type offense. Now, different play caller, obviously, different emphasis, things like that, but it's a similar type offense. And that's one that
Take the
isn't
chicken out.
super reliant on like hyper QB play. Now, if you can get it, obviously, that's what you're looking for.
Yeah. Sorry,
Uh,
y'all. I'm cooking, and I don't want to
oh,
burn up the chicken.
don't burn up the chicken, man. Uh, Jay Strong says the Commanders activated Chase Young, but I have faith in my Falcons. Yeah, this should be Chase Young's first game back.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how this offensive line does. They did pretty good. They kept Marcus clean this past week, but then again, they kept Marcus clean this past week against a Bears defense that
And
has nobody.
I was about to say that. Yeah.
Yeah, outside of Jaquan Brisker,
Mm-hmm.
and your boy Jack Sanborn, like
Right.
there really ain't nobody on that defense. So the Commanders have a far tougher defense. So it's going to be interesting to see if they can get that run game going against that defensive line. Make those guys run
Yeah.
sideline to sideline.
Yeah.
Millie Mill says
We
pound
got
for
to get
pound.
out
What's
the
up?
Heineke.
Oh yeah, we're going to have to do that for sure. Millie Mill says, "What's up, pound for pound? What's
What
going on,
up,
Millie?"
fam?
Troy Anderson hawked. Oh yeah, he hawked Fields down after down. That was something that I brought up on something that Troy Anderson was going to have to do.
Yeah.
Was spy him, and he did a pretty good job of it. You kept Justin Fields under 100 yards, and he only scored one rushing touchdown. So that was good in that aspect. Let's see. Let's see. Fred goes, question for both of you. Why doesn't Dean Pease call tight defense like this every week? Keep in mind, Fred, like we said before, AJ Terrell's been out for what, 3-4
Yeah.
games now.
Mm-hmm.
He just got him back.
Yeah.
So he was making do with what he had at corner, during that time, because you also have Casey Hayward out. And, during our
Right.
times talking with Cody Alexander, made me realize that, like, your safety, or not just your safeties, but your cornerbacks and all that jazz, that's like having the high ground. Okay.
Yeah.
So he's keeping those guys back so they can keep everything in front of them and react to what they're seeing. Instead of that's how you supplement for lesser talent.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. I mean, you're as strong as a secondary, and that's what we were talking about in our last live. And when your secondary is not strong enough, you can't do a lot of things up front that you normally would like to do. And you saw they had added a little bit more strength with AJ Terrell back, and now that front was able to really get out to Justin because they had at least AJ Terrell back
right.
on the back end, and you can tell the difference too as soon as he was able to join them.
Yeah.
I mean, man, I'm telling you, I was impressed, man. I was shocked and impressed to see the pass rush get into them the way that they were, man. It was like, wow.
Yeah, no, it was like a dose of medicine getting
Yeah.
AJ Terrell back. And you hope that keeps going. It looked like D. Alford was, handling the other side of the field pretty
Yeah.
well with Isaiah Oliver like fully back now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Making plays, shedding blocks, and playing the way he was, last season, which I was really glad to see.
Yeah.
Joshua Mulvaney says, "What's up, Pound for Pound family?
What up, fam?
Happy Thanksgiving to y'all. Happy Thanksgiving to you as well.
Yes, sir.
Hope everybody eats a ton of turkey." Kenji Davis says, "What's up, family? I'm a little late to the party, but I am here, and we are
That's
glad
all
that
right.
you are here. That's all right. It's okay about being late." Let's see. The Q Falcons 1978 says, let's get a PvP family. Hit that like button is what he followed it up with. He says, hit that like button. To my understanding, things like buttons and sharing and all that jazz really helps us out.
Yeah.
I never really, get too much into it. I know a lot of the YouTube channels say that a ton. I don't like to try to, me and Toby, we don't like to try to badger with the like buttons and all that jazz, but it does really help the algorithm. So if y'all are so inclined, give it a good old thumbs up.
Hit that thing.
That's right. Let's see. Kenji says, people say our key to winning games this year has been Mariota under 20 throws. I say our key to winning has been defensive and special teams touchdowns. Yes, when the defense has showed up, that has made a huge difference. If we're having to win it on the arm and the decision-making process of Mariota, that's when it gets dicey. And that's the reason why me and Toby continuously say, okay, we just have to get through this season with Mariota.
Yeah.
Because like he can't be the answer going forward. He hasn't shown you anything that would indicate that he is the answer going forward. His decision making process on a week to week basis is enough to make you pull your hair out. Even in this
Mm-hmm.
particular game, like the Bears, like he threw it right at the Bears linebacker. It should have been a pick, like
Yep.
straight up and down, should have been a
So
pick.
shoulda.
And
Yeah.
so um, that's the part that can be infuriating. Now it worked out well for him, but the Drake London touchdown, um, like that, those type of plays, like holding on to it just a little bit too long, is what ends up leading him into trouble. And now it worked out. Obviously, came away with a touchdown.
Yeah, it was a
Um,
nice throw though. Tell you
yeah,
now, I did like I love the throw, looking at it, just looking at it in person and how he made the throw or whatever. I mean, he makes some plays, man, but
yeah,
you just don't know when he's gonna make those plays or if he's gonna make those plays. He's a hit and miss kind of quarterback.
yeah. The
Hit or
inconsistency
miss, yeah.
is what is maddening. Dre Harris says Timmy Horn was impressive when he came in for Graham. We might have another diamond in the rough. But do you foresee the team signing a veteran D lineman to help with the rotation? Well, they claimed Jalen Johnson. I think that's how you say his name off of waivers. So
Yeah.
and he's already slated as a backup.
Mm.
So right now, if you go look at that new depth chart, um, the starters are obviously Grady Jarrett and Abdullah Anderson, with
Who had a sack this week,
right,
this weekend.
who
Yeah.
had um, and then you got Matt Dickerson and Timmy Horn as backups, and then the guy that we just picked up off of waivers is a reserve, is how it's listed. So now Nick brings up a good point. We're 4-2 at home and 1-4 on
Mm-hmm.
the road.
Yep.
So I mean, this Washington Commanders team is not going to be a walk in the park
Mm-mm.
by any stretch. You're getting Chase Young back. You already have Josh Allen, who at times looks unstoppable. You have everybody's hopeful favorite free agent Deron Payne, who's going to make it nearly impossible to run up the middle. So they're going to have to get creative in the face of this pass rush, as
Yeah.
we have seen. Our offensive line, where yes, they've kept uh, Marcus clean last week, but they kept him clean against backup and second stringers.
Yeah, sure did.
You
Yeah.
know, so yes, good job, but no, it wasn't super impressive. You know, so they're going to have to get real creative and throw in, like they're going to have to throw into the face of the rush and everything else, because
Yeah.
it's going to come. Against
Mm-hmm.
Washington.
Yeah, I'm gonna be interested to see how they're gonna scheme things up without Pitts being in there and being as, serving as a distraction for everybody else to kind of get open. So it's gonna be interesting to see how the
Right.
game plan is devised without Pitts.
That is um because Millie Mills says, "Hi JR, who the heck is Will Compton? Isn't he the guy from the Bussin' with the Boys podcast? He is the guy from the Bussin' with the Boys podcast. Nothing official has come out yet about us signing him.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing from the team. It seems like there's a holdup on contract negotiations. Part of, like, can he, probably has a lot to do with, can he still do the podcast? Uh, because they have marketing deals and all that other kind of stuff. They got like their own
Yeah.
bourbon and all that jazz. But for anybody who's like, why are we signing this guy, or why would we even bring this guy in? Like, he's a former Tennessee guy. He knows Arthur. Arthur knows him. He, by all accounts, is a like locker room leader kind of guy, and is a special teams ace. So, um, it'd be interesting to see if anything does actually fully transpire
Yeah.
with that, because it sounded like the last thing I saw, it was like this is the most like entertaining practice squad signing. So it may not even be signing to the 53. So Michael Walker asked, they still got Montez Sweat? They do still have Montez Sweat.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to have Montez Sweat and Chase Allen. Or Chase Young, rather. Chase Allen. So, yeah, it was a Millie Mills. Smith with these friendship hires. I mean, you hire the people you're comfortable with, man.
Yeah, pretty
More
much,
times than not.
man.
Especially if it's like low impact. You know, if he feels like he's gonna lose some energy with who knows, maybe Graham was a big energy guy. And, if he feels like he's gonna lose some energy with Graham and Pitts being gone, maybe he brings in somebody like a Will Compton to bring some height.
Yeah.
Let's see. Jay Black says, I believe we will pass more to our running backs out of the backfield this game against the Commanders. Yeah, I mean, it's a possibility. Like he threw to, he had a couple nice passes to, I know one to Caleb Huntley and one to Cordell, obviously. I don't remember. Did he pass to Algier coming out of the backfield this past
I
game? I don't
believe
remember.
so. I believe he
Okay.
did.
But yeah, I mean,
Uh,
that's how you slow down that rush is to
yeah.
little dump offs and you throw it right at Chase Young's face basically and make him hesitate. I mean, that's what you initially got to do.
Yeah, we still need to be able to run that ball,
Oh
and
yeah.
that's for sure. And you're gonna have to use Cordell a lot more. Now, I did notice, they did use this mini bye week to self scout because they tried to throw the ball a little bit more on earlier downs than they usually would do. And you saw the defense, come out and look totally different after that mini bye week too. So hopefully this will kickstart them and going on a tear these next 6 games.
That'd be nice. I mean, because you got Washington, which yes, they're more formidable than the
Yeah,
Bears, but it's still a winnable game.
yeah.
Um, so you got that game coming up. You got the Ravens, which the Ravens like came out of the chute looking almost unstoppable.
Hmm.
But here as of late, they have really kind of started to look, more human or more susceptible. They ended up beating the Panthers, but man, that was an ugly game that
Yeah,
they played against the Panthers. Um, you don't know what you're going to get from the Bucks, and you're not even 100% sure who's going to be playing quarterback when the Cardinals come to town. Or did they
right.
come to town, or did we go to them?
Yeah, they come to town.
Yeah,
Them and the Bucks are the last 2 games of the season.
right. And so yeah, I mean, they're the last stretch of this season. These last 6 games are very winnable.
Yeah.
It just depends on, as we said before, it just depends on what Falcons show up, and
That's
it
the
really just
thing.
depends on what Mariota shows up.
Hmm.
Because if you have the Mariota that is a little bit more accurate, a little bit more precise, you give yourself a much better chance, obviously.
Yeah.
But if you have the Mariota that's trying to a lot of ways do too much and extend plays for too long, starts making poor decisions again, then all of these games are losable too.
Yeah. Hmm.
Fred says
Yep.
that Washington and the Steelers are next. So is
Yeah.
it those both of those road games?
No, one of them Steelers. If I'm not mistaken, they come here,
Okay,
and then
that's
the Falcons got to go back on the road after that game.
right. That's the one thing I ain't
Yeah.
never been able to do in my life is remember the schedule.
Yeah.
Like I try every year, and I have to pull it up almost every time. Millie Mills says the key to this game is locking down Curtis Samuel. I believe AJ can handle Terry, hopefully, and limit
Ooh,
Allen Payne and Young's impact. Sounds
boy.
simple. Oh yeah, it sounds so simple. Just don't let those guys rip your quarterback's head off, and you
Yeah.
should be fine, right? And it's not
Shoot,
just
boy.
that. I mean, it's Gibson, and they've got a pretty good 1-2 punch and running back
Yeah.
with Brian
Brian
Robinson.
Robinson.
He
He's
was a
gonna be a
guy that I was high
handful.
on, in the
Yeah.
draft, And to see the way he's come in after quite literally being shot,
Yeah.
he has bounced back, and it's almost like he's trying to make up for the missed time that he's had, already.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, Jay Strong, I do agree. Mariota does have heart.
Oh
And
yeah,
he almost got hurt getting that rushing TD. He barely got up. He was a little ginger getting off the ground, but he held in tough, got that touchdown, and kept it moving. So yeah, I give him that. He does have heart, man. He just not consistent enough with the play that you want out of a quarterback.
right.
And that's the part that frustrates you, especially watching it in person.
Hmm. Yep, Nick is right. He says the Commanders are 6-5, the Falcons are 5-6.
This is a huge
Big,
game.
yeah, big game, very big game.
Yeah,
Like they've pretty much come out and said without saying it that you're not going to see Ritter as long as we're in contention.
right.
So for the Ritter crowd, in a way, you're hoping that we lose a game or two, so that you can see Ritter before the season ends. But as long as that's and that kind of confirms what me and you've been saying all season. As long as they
Hmm.
feel like they're in contention, they're not going to hand it over to the rookie.
Yeah. Until they are mathematically eliminated, I
Right.
don't see it happening. And even then, they probably still won't do it.
I think it depends on like what the shape of the team is in at that point.
Yeah,
Like if you're down, some more starting linemen or, another weapon or two, you might not. You might just be
yeah,
like, there ain't no sense in me running him out here. He's not gonna have any success at it, you know. So which is gonna bring for an interesting like start of the offseason as we've already talked about, and which will
yeah,
become a little bit more of a interesting topic as we head to as the season progresses. But they're going to have some kind of answer when this season ends about what they're doing at QB.
yeah,
And I would hate for it to be we're going to go into next season with Marcus and Ritter and see what happens. I really, really would hope that that's not their answer.
hmm,
Let's see. Southside 12 says, I think this may be a Huntley game, even though Algier has been great lately. Oh, you're going to have to follow up on that, Southside. What about it makes you think it's a Huntley game? Because what in your mind does Huntley do better than Algier? I mean, is it the short area quickness that Huntley seems to have? Because I actually think in these last few weeks, like Algier has truly cemented himself as RB2,
hmm,
like fully, um, because he runs hard. No, he doesn't have breakaway speed, but he's got plenty enough to get you 20 and 30-yard chunks, which is what you're wanting.
yeah,
He's got that, and he has that punishing running style. I think you're going to keep Huntley on the 53, and you're going to keep him active on game days, but it's going to be more of a like giving Algier a break,
yeah,
in my opinion. Joshua says, assuming Marcus makes the whole season, would this be his first season as a starter, not going without injury? I think he's had one full season, hadn't he?
I think so.
Or something, or real close to it.
But he's had close seasons where
Right,
he's only missed like one game.
right. So, but if he makes the full, this very well could be the first full season if he makes the full one.
Yeah,
Let's see. Okay. Nick asks, where's Fisker? He's been chilling on the inactive list, which I think that ends this coming week.
yep,
I think you'll see Parker Hesse, Michael Pruitt, and Fisker as your tight ends. With it wouldn't surprise me one bit if John Rain gets activated here soon
yeah,
because they re-signed him to the practice squad. I mean, they're going to run with 3 tight ends as they have been doing. It's just Michael Pruitt gave you a little bit more than blocking than Fisker, which is what they were using the other 2 tight ends. Everybody kind of forgets about Parker Hesse, but right now without Keith Smith and Parker Hesse, this run game don't move.
yeah,
Not like it's been doing. So Hesse has been putting in mad work, you know, uh in the blocking game. Let's see. Jay Black says, Pound, tell what you think. Pitts is on IR, and the offense seemed to move better downfield. Was that because of no game planning without Pitts on the field, or was Marcus comfortable with everyone else?
That's a tough
That's
one.
it's almost
That's a tough
you can
one.
kind of get the feeling that kind of like back in the day when Calvin Johnson finally retired and Matthew Stafford had that somewhat uh, controversial statement that he felt like maybe they could be better even without Calvin Johnson. And it had nothing to do with being a shot at Calvin Johnson. It was more of a shot at himself. Like, I'll have to look at other places.
Yeah, elevate the team up.
Right. And it could be a situation where you felt like, okay, with Pitts out of it, now like Mariota finally has to be, kind of like at times, with Ryan. Ryan would get so locked in on Julio Jones
Yeah.
that you're like, dude, there's other people that you could throw the ball to.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the last few years with Ryan, from that 2016 on, you didn't really have that issue. You know, he was spreading the ball around, but there for a while, it was like he was locked in on Jones.
Yeah.
Now, it's hard for me to say that that's what Mario's doing because Pitts ain't had that production. You know,
Nope.
I'd have to go. I'd have to really go, and that might be my truck thought this week. I might like sit there and dig into like the numbers, but I actually could see the numbers of Drake London going up even more.
Yeah,
Uh,
Drake's got some steady numbers
right.
as a rookie this year.
Yes, that he does. Um, Nick says Mahomes is better without Hill. Again, it's debatable. It's not better. I think it's just different. I think that's what it'll be. I think it may force, if anything, it may force Arthur Smith to start calling shorter passes.
It may,
You know what I'm saying?
and they might
Like,
have to this week.
right. So it may, like, if that's the case, it may, uh, you know, it may force Smith into, calling different personnel packages and things of that nature.
Yeah.
Uncle Javon says, I feel like if we make the playoff push and win a wild card game or so, Mariota just might be QB1 going into next season as well. And he gives the face. There's part of me that has thought that exact same thought. Like at the end of the day, I want to move on from Mariota, right?
Yeah.
I've seen what I needed to see.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, I want it to be clear cut. This guy's not going to be my quarterback next year.
Mm-hmm.
Now, whether that's Ritter or whether that's a draft pick, whether that's some other free agent, that could be, tossed up in the air. But the part of me is like, I really want it to be by the end of the season, we're definitely done with Mariota.
Yeah.
And so then there's another part of my brain that says, well, if that's what I want, then what's going to end up happening is that we are going to stumble our way into the playoffs and either win a game or look competitive enough to convince yourself that, well, maybe Mariota just needs a little bit more time. And I'll be like, no,
Hey.
it's not what I want.
Mm.
Fred says,
I don't know, man.
JR, in my opinion, Ritter is our franchise QB. I think Arthur is just waiting to unleash him next year when the team gets better. That's what we've been telling ourselves. That's what we have definitely been. That's what they feel like is going to transpire.
Yeah. Yeah, we got 6 more games to go, man. If we go handle business against the Commanders and can stop Heineke from extending plays like he seems to like to do on us when we play him, then we definitely have a chance to win.
Yeah, and I think if you can string back-to-back wins together,
Yeah.
which we haven't been able to do this season, like
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a huge step. I think that would
Yeah.
be a huge step. Like, Alberto says, reaching the playoffs will accomplish his coaching staff's rebuild. One more year with a better QB playing will be contender talks.
Yeah,
I mean, I'll say it, man, you reach the playoffs with this roster, that shouldn't
that's
be
a
something that's overlooked at
that's a
all.
huge accomplishment. I mean, even right now, man, it's really a accomplishment for this team with having inconsistent QB play, injured defense, and you're still in contention at 5-6. So that's
Right.
saying a lot, man. Yeah,
Uh, Colby says, can Lorenzo Carter get 10 sacks if he can
yeah,
turn it up a notch? I don't know. It's like the
hmm
way they use Lorenzo Carter is a lot more like dropping into coverage than I thought,
yeah,
which I don't know if that's going to then allow him to get, uh, 10 sacks. He's doing definitely what they're asking him to do. That much is for sure.
yeah,
And I think it's a role that, if not next year, the year after, like, it wouldn't surprise me one bit if that's the role D'Angelo Malone takes over. Because when he
yeah,
does come in the game, he seems to come in the game and give like Lorenzo a break. And
hmm
he tends to do a lot of the same stuff that Lorenzo does.
yeah. He does, and he may
Oh,
be the guy next year.
somebody called me. Appreciate that false start. Thank you for reminding me and being much nicer than Colby, who called me a dummy. Look, man, I don't have a great memory. You ain't got to call me a dummy. I appreciate it. You can just correct me in chat. It's all good. If I mess up, what I was thinking was the fact that we couldn't get over 500. Maybe that's what I was thinking. But I'm doing this stuff on the fly. So just, be nice. Oh, let's see. Millie Mill says we reached the playoffs with this roster, and Arthur Smith's here for the next 7 years, and I'm all for it. I'll tell you this: even if you get like truly respect, like you get close to sniffing if you stay in contention all the way up to the end
Yeah,
with Mariota, with now with Pitts being out, with your other starting cornerback being out for the season, like
yeah,
that's like this coaching staff will have a feather to put in their cap, in my opinion.
yeah. Yeah, I
I,
agree.
I'm glad Cody or Colby chuckled with me there. I was hoping he didn't take me serious. Sometimes my sarcasm doesn't translate well, and you got to make sure you lay it on thick so people know that you're not actually upset.
Yeah.
Let's see. Um, London does have 4 touchdowns. I see. What do you think London ends up the season with? Now that Pitts is down, what do you think? You think he?
Man, I'm gonna say 8. I'm gonna say 8 touchdowns and almost 1,000 yards. I'm gonna say 8 touchdowns, 850 yards.
I
What
can
I'm gonna say.
definitely, I can definitely see his production like ramping up more.
Yeah,
Um, because there's one photo or one little clip rolling around Twitter right now of him not being able to beat, or like the cornerback walking with him or whatever. Oh, you
yeah,
don't have long speed or straight line speed. I mean, that was by Zacchaeus coming underneath it. That was obviously a clear out route that
yeah.
he was participating, taking both those defenders to clear out the underneath. And if I'm not mistaken, like Zacchaeus had like 40 something yards on that play.
He
Like,
could have had a touchdown,
right.
but Mariota, of course.
I mean, that's going to be the name of one of these segments. Could have had a touchdown, but Mariota. I may just like clip that and start playing that as a video every time Marcus misses something on Twitter.
Cause it was a perfect call. It was a
Oh yeah.
perfect call.
Oh man. Keith D says, "What's up, pound for pound? Hey, from when I tune in late, is it me or does Richie Grant give too much cushion at times?" It's hard for me to say that, and the reason why I make that distinction is the more I learn about coverages and coverage calls, it's hard for me to say what, like, really say he's giving up too much cushion because
Yeah.
it just depends on what's called at the moment, you know, because there's times he's playing up real close. There's times that, he's playing the, deep middle of the field. So it just really depends on the coverage as to what his assignment is uh, on those particular calls.
Yeah.
Because there's like, I think it's a MEX coverage, MEX. It's, talking about like the middle of the field being open, like you're talking about like triangles on each side of the field, you know, the apex player has this guy, it's like it all just depends on what's happening. It's a lot easier to diagnose what the offense is doing because you can see the routes that the wide receivers are running, and you can
Yeah.
generally look at the concepts of what's going on between like two or three receivers or what have you. It's a little harder to do that on the defensive side of the ball, at least what I've found.
Yeah.
Let's see. Southside says, I don't think Oz, I think Oz didn't see the ball because it was a good throw. Maybe he was looking behind him. I don't know.
He might have. I don't. It didn't look like it though. I mean, he definitely had got the separation. It should have been a quick strike. And maybe there was just miscommunication.
Maybe.
Which way Marcus was going to throw the ball.
Right. Fred wants to know at this point in the season, I'm putting at this point in the season on there, but he says, do y'all think London was worth the 8th overall pick? I think so. I mean, as far as like, there wasn't really a wrong pick that you could have had at that 8th
Yeah.
in this last draft outside of like picking Ritter at 8th or a running back at 8th. But for the people, like for the players that were there for you to pick in the 8th spot, just about it, because of how many holes you had, you could have went a million different directions.
Yeah.
And so with that being said, the performance thus far, he's been worth an eighth overall pick. And that's with given the fact, like King 7 is saying here, London is good. I just think we need the right QB for the job. I just hope Ritter's getting everything down packed, watching from the sidelines. That's the thing. I think, unfortunately, right now, the Pitts and London pick don't look as good because of the inconsistent play.
Yeah.
I think you
Hmm.
get a little bit more consistent offensive or QB play, and I think those picks will look much better.
Yeah. And the QB that can actually throw fade routes.
Right. Right.
And some of those things, because like I said before, you don't have to be speedy these days to beat somebody. You can be side by side with them. But if you throw them fade routes and them back shoulder throws, and which was some of the things that Kyle Pitts and London excelled in when they were on the field, Marcus and Mariota just don't do it consistently.
And Joshua Mulvaney says Drake might not have a ton of speed, but that dude is physical, and he'll
Yeah.
definitely drag you into the end zone with him and
Hmm.
not think twice. London and Tyler were great picks in my opinion.
Yeah.
I have to agree. I mean, those fit what Arthur is trying to do, what Arthur is trying to build here. He is trying to build a physical team. That's the
Hmm.
answer to where these defenses have gone. These defenses have gone to lighter, quicker guys who can cover. Okay, what's a counter to that counter? Bigger, more physical guys that they can't hope to drag down.
Hmm.
That's the counter. And it's not just Atlanta, folks, that's doing this. Baltimore's doing it. The 49ers are doing it. There's a like Chicago, not well, yeah, in a way, Chicago's attempting to do it. Like they're answering the light, fast defense. They're going back more old school.
Hmm.
And you'll see where these offenses are going to get bigger and more physical for a little while. And these teams will answer that with bigger and more physical defensive players. And then you'll go
Yep.
back down to some of the smaller,
Yep.
it's like, it's
It's a
a,
chess game.
right. It's a punch, counter
Yeah.
punch.
Yeah.
It's a chess game. It's what can I get to? All right, fine. You're going to have these, little guys who can outrun my guy then I'll just have a guy who can run you over.
Mm-hmm.
Then you start throwing out big guys like a Vince Wilfork or, you know, like Brian Urlacher back in the day. Like you start throwing those like bigger linebackers and bigger D tackle guys. Fine, I'm just going to outrun you. Like it's all about
Mm-hmm.
how can you get your guys into space. And for those who don't think that Drake London can separate, that touchdown in the end zone showed you he can separate.
Yeah.
You know, he can separate when he needs to like that. So it's not all about straight line speed. There's many different ways to, you know, win at the point of attack.
Mm-hmm.
See, King 7 says, facts. Appreciate that, King. Sip says, I know I'm late, but I'm headed to work. Rise up, everybody. Rise up, brother, man. Work good
Rise
tonight.
up.
Be safe
Yeah,
out there.
man. Be
I'm not
safe, man.
I'm not sure what you're doing this late in the evening, but whatever it is, just be careful and hopefully keep a smile on your face. King 7 says, JR and Toby, do you feel next season is the year to strike to give Grady a monster star because he's not getting younger? You would want to see him in his prime with another beast before he's washed. I
Yeah.
agree. Like I would
Mm-hmm.
love to have Deron Payne or uh, he's the name that pops up a lot because you feel like he's probably out in Washington. But
Yeah.
like either another monster on the inside or uh, a legitimate pass rush, especially if like Ebiketie can take a step along with Malone and Ogundeji. If all those guys can take a step next year and become a consistent force, man, I would love to see it.
Man, it would be nice, man. It
I
would
would
be nice.
absolutely. Jay Black says, "Does Brian Edwards show up now, or is it more Demir Bird to get the rock?" I'd probably say
Yeah.
more to Bird. Bird.
Yeah, it's more Bird, man. Bird's been getting a lot more playing time lately.
I think you're going to see now that with Pitts being down for the next 4 games, I think you're going to see a little bit more small ball in the sense of Bird, Zacchaeus, and Hodge.
Yeah.
Getting targets. I think you'll get out there with Pruitt and Fisker as your tight ends. I think you're going to see a lot more like dump off type stuff. I don't think. I think at least for the foreseeable future, if you're going to stretch the field, it's going to be with either Oz or Bird because you don't
Yeah.
have Pitts to stretch the field anymore.
Yeah.
Nick says, "Where's Darby? Dancing in the locker room somewhere, making a TikTok." That's where Darby is. Sip says, "I drive for a living. Recently switched to a local position. Good deal.
Okay.
I
Yeah, man.
also drive for a living. I don't do it on the CDL front. I do it on a but yeah, I drive every day. Gives me a lot of time to think."
Yeah.
Millie Mills says, "Look at the rookie wide receivers. Wilson's crying about Wilson. Olave can't take a hit, and the rest suck. So yeah, he's worth it, especially when we needed one." Yeah, I don't know. I haven't paid too much attention to. I know is it Wilson up there in Jets is like yeah, he's definitely not having fun up there yet. Um, let's see. Alberto says, "Good show, guys. Love how y'all explain the team, players, and game with excitement. Been in with other shows that just bash its own fan peers. We'll catch next show. We appreciate it. Hey man,
Yeah,
that's what
we
we try to
appreciate
do.
that. Thank you.
There's enough negativity in this world without us coming on here,
Yeah.
down talking to everybody. There's times that we get frustrated just like everybody, but we try to keep it on a more positive, upbeat. Jay Black says JR and Toby with small dump offs. Does that open up the deep ball? They all play hand in hand, brother.
Yeah.
If you can get the defense to start sucking up with the dump offs in the run game, somebody's going to be open over top.
Yep.
It's just, can he hit him? That's the question.
That is the question.
I mean, can he hit him with any kind of consistency? To make, because they've been there. They've been
Yeah.
there all season. They've been there. They've been there with Pitts. They've been there. Like he's overthrown Pitts. I don't know how many times on deep balls.
Man.
He's connected with Bird a time or two and Oz a time or two. So I mean, they're there. He's just got to connect with them. Fred wants to know who is y'all's non QB top free agent target. As of right now, for me, my non it would be I would like a pass rusher. If it's a Josh Allen out of the Jaguars, or I don't know who else is freed up. I haven't looked into who might
Yeah, I
be
haven't
free
had a
next
chance to
year.
look.
I tend to wait until we get closer to where people are getting tagged.
Yeah,
Like, but yeah, I mean, as the off season rolls on, you'll definitely we'll get to throwing those kind of things out there potentially.
yeah.
Jared Toby, I know it's early, but look at Carl Brooks, DN from Bowling Green. Looks like a DNP's guy to me. All right, I'll throw it
We're
out
going.
there.
Yeah,
I'll definitely throw it out there. If there's anybody that has already caught y'all's eye, because I'm starting to get into that mode as we start to wind down. That tends to be what I do the last like quarter of the season. I really start to look at because at that point in time, the bowl games are in full swing. Everybody's seasons are fully done, just
yeah,
about, and you get into a better idea of who's declaring and who isn't declaring, and I like to know the deck of cards I'm working with before I start playing.
yeah.
Let's see. Fallstar says, "Hey guys, I flew to Chicago last night to pick up my new semi. This thing's sweet. Sorry, chat, little trucker talk, dude. That's sweet, man. You had to go all the way to Chicago to get. They ain't sell that rig down here. Like I don't know where you're at. Like you may not be here in Georgia, but I passed truck dealerships all the time.
Yeah.
Anyway, Millie Mills says Javon Hargraves from Philly. My only problem with Hargraves isn't he on the other side of 30?
He getting up in age now.
That's my only concern with Hargrave is that he's I want guys who are right about their prime or just entering their prime.
Yeah.
Is what I'm looking for. Guys that we can build around for a little while. Nick Banglo says Jalen Carter. I think he'll be long gone before we pick.
Yeah, but if
To
we
be
picking
just
in the
completely,
teens, he I don't see him
I don't,
lasting.
I don't see him lasting.
Yeah.
Not with guys like Will Anderson not showing as well as you were hoping they were going to, and now it's like being reported that he's like a sub 240, 240 pound guy.
Mm,
So that's kind of worrisome. When a little guy don't flash or doesn't keep it up.
yeah.
Especially nowadays, it almost gives you that like Vic Beasley vibes. So we're just going to have to let the process play out as far as some of these pass rushers
Yeah.
go. Um, let's see. Fred says, ham or turkey guy for Thanksgiving. He's a ham guy. Myself, I'm a wing guy. Like if I can get some hot wings on Thanksgiving, you make me real happy because I'm not much. I'm not much for turkey, and I can have all the other stuff any other time of the year.
Yeah.
Like my wife enjoys dressing, so I'll make her dressing every now and again, just out of because she likes it. And everything else, mashed potatoes and corn and gravy and all that jazz. Man, we eat that stuff all the time. Well, give me some hot wings, man.
Yeah.
Give me a steak. But then again, I'm non-traditional. What about you, Toby?
I'm both. I love ham and turkey.
Love ham and turkey.
Yeah, I'm ham and turkey. I eat chicken when people do it. Some people do fried chicken, some people do, you know, oven roasted chicken and
Yeah.
whatnot. And I'll eat that too.
But then again, as y'all can tell, I ain't walked away from too many meals. So you feed me and I'm happy, right?
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway,
I'm with you, Fred Butts. I love dressing and potato salad too.
heck yeah.
Yeah.
Let's get that one up. Yeah, dressing and potato salad is some good stuff.
Potato
See,
salad is my favorite. I can eat that about every day
I'm about to say.
if
I
you
mean, I
let me.
make like especially during the summer, I make potato salad a lot because
Yeah.
it's a nice, good cold side to go with. That works great with ribs and burgers, and I love me some potato
Yeah.
salad. King 7. Hey, anyone know what's going on with Bernhardt? Is he still on the team or the practice squad? I'd have to look. Did he get put on IR? Like
I
at
thought he
some
did. I thought he
I
got
thought he
hurt.
did too. Cause I thought he
Yeah.
got like concussed and then put on the IR or something That's what my brain is telling me. But as we
Yeah,
discussed earlier,
that's what it's telling me too.
my brain isn't always on my side. Now, talking about somebody is on my side, Joshua says, JR word, just feed me. Right. Just, food, man. I look for any and every excuse whatsoever just to eat, man. I like it. It's good stuff. Like
Yeah, man.
we was hanging with the family out in the cabin over the weekend. I took my daggum, I got this little barrel smoker deal. I took the barrel smoker out there and smoked a 13-pound brisket.
Mm.
And that thing was slamming, dude. Like, just give me a reason to cook. That's all I'm asking for. That is all I am asking for. Let's see. Kenji Davis says either deep fried turkey or turkey from Honey Baked Ham Store.
Ooh, yeah,
Now,
deep
look, I'll get
fried
on
turkey.
board with a deep fried turkey.
Boy,
Like, straight up and down. It
Kenji,
was
you on to something there, boy.
it was probably, I can't remember, maybe the first year me and my wife were married, or maybe we were just dating at the time. I can't remember now. But her daddy had this infrared turkey fryer. Okay. Didn't use no grease. And just used it was like a big microwave or whatever. And I was out there talking with him. I was like, dude, this thing ain't gonna do nothing. I kid you not when I say that was the juiciest turkey I've ever had in my life. Hands down, bar none, best turkey ever. Had it been a little later in my life, and as a matter of fact, I may actually go look for one of those things. Because now that I'm thinking about it, that was an amazing turkey.
Yeah.
That was something that didn't catch on. The infrared way of cooking. Probably give you cancer or something. Who knows?
Ain't no telling.
Fred says, I only eat my mama's potato salad. You got to try some other potato salads, bro. There's a lot out there. You ever had a fully loaded potato salad? It's got
I don't think I
bacon and
had that.
cheese and,
Yeah, I ain't
oh,
had
dude.
that.
Woo. Make you slap somebody.
Mm.
Keith Spencer says, and don't. And don't what? What do we not? You can't just and don't. You can't just throw that out and don't. And don't what? Anyway, I think we have fully went off the rails, my friend. It is time.
Yeah, I think everybody got food on their mind,
Yeah,
man. They
it
ready
is.
for Thanksgiving, boy.
We're gonna throw the ticker out there. Now that went fully off the football rails. I hope everybody truly enjoys their Thanksgiving. I hope
Yeah,
y'all watch
man.
a ton of football and have a good time. Keep your eye on the channel, as I'll have some form of something out on Friday, maybe potentially. And also we'll be back live on Tuesday, obviously, to talk about whether we won or lost. And anyway, you can follow me on Twitter. I'm at Grim1128, GRIMM1128. Toby.
Toby D 1991.
As always, Falcons fans, rise up.
Rise up.